Well, the entire time when you're coaching a team, you're talking about dealing with adversity and what's happening, and things change. And so basically what we're trying to do is business as usual. When we're going to work. That was the words we told them when we met with them when we found out about it. We don't know anything but work. It's time to go to work. Let's just go to work. And that's kind of the attitude they've had.
Did you have any kind of inclination that something was going wrong, or did you guys have any idea that,
No, sir.
some kind of turmoil going on or anything?
No, sir, we did not. I mean, it was a sudden thing for us, and like I said, it's part of life. That's what we teach. You got to deal with it. Here's where we are. We got to go.
Coach, you talk about going to work. How do you, though, in your mindset, go to work on the whole team, not just the defense that you had kind of been put in charge of when it's this quick of a turnaround for you?
Well, that was a strange thing yesterday at practice. We had an OTA yesterday and got to run around, and we got ready to go out, and I've always taken the defense out and walked with them, and we had our little things to do, and I got to that door, and I think, oh, wait a minute, I can't just go this way today. So I had to go the other way to make sure everybody knew, that we were together. So that was a little different for me.
You've been a part of this team for a while now, and I mean, the camaraderie that you've built up with, I mean, how is all this affecting you personally?
Oh, anytime there's change, it's stressful. But, when you've got 9, 10 other guys that are with you every day and they're there and we take care of things, nothing's a whole lot different. There's just not one man sitting in that chair. It's the same guys we spend all the time with as coaches, and those position coaches play a very, very vital part in this whole thing. Those are the guys that spend most of the time with those individual players. So with that bond, that's how you keep everything together. It goes to those men that are in the back of the room right now.
How do y'all stay focused on the football aspect out there and not get caught up in what's going on with the administration side right now?
Control the things that you control. It's cliche-ish, but it's the same thing you deal with in your life. You control whatever you control. You got to step forward, go to work, and kids love to play the game, so they're going to play the game regardless of the situation. So,
What was the overall reaction of the team, the players? Were they given an explanation on why the change is going on or anything, or was there?
we were talking about it today, and I knew you guys would ask some of those questions, and what I know is what you reported, and basically that's what the kids were told. It's. I know as much as what y'all had on your statement that you go. That's what I know is going on this time. I just knew that they asked me, will you take care of these kids? And the most important thing was taking care of these players because they're still young men. They still can, we can help them grow and all those things. And that's what we did. Just roll up the reins and say that's what we're going to do.
Coach, with it being a undefined time that you're interim head coach, are you planning it for the short term? Do you plan it for the long term? Are you making any changes?
Well, a lot of the plan was in place, so you got to look at where you're at and so there'll be tweaks and things like that, in the day-to-day as they come along. But, it's, in the life of a coach in football and you're planning those things, you can only control what you're doing today. You can't make up yesterday. You can't do tomorrow till tomorrow's there. So, with the help of the guys in the back of the room, the staff, we sit and we talk about everything. What do we need to do? How do we need to do this? And, it requires more time of us, because of the situation. But I feel confident with those guys, every day. If we're in the foxhole together, we can come up with a plan and make it work.
How do you keep some of these kids motivated who might have, fallen off the wagon and said, hey, we were rolling this way, now we got to roll a completely different way? How do you keep those guys motivated? I mean, I understand it's a team aspect.
But it all goes back to the relationships with those assistant coaches. They spend the time, they're in those rooms with them together, so when they walk into that same room and they see that same coach, that's their coach, something has changed in the leadership, but the relationship didn't change with those coaches. So that helps all those things.
It's our understanding that the investigation is set to last several weeks. I guess with that being said, I think 2.5 months is when you guys have your first game. Are you pretty much assuming going to be business as usual once that comes around? For you?
I'm interim till they tell me I'm not interim. That's what I know at this point. It's whatever happens in that situation, it's just like pull up your boots and go in that direction because that's what you do.
Does this change the game plan or what the team might look like on the field with you as interim head coach right now?
We're 2 days in. You know, we've actually had one OTA since then. It's actually the players' day off today. So, you know, it's about us guys getting together, kind of working through all those things at this point in time.
Coach Conklin is gonna call more offensive plays this year. How's that gonna be changed as far as, because since you don't know, at this point, how has that changed as far as planning and so forth?
Well, what I found out in a 2 days' time, there's a lot of things that go on that take a head coach away from actual football. And then again, I know I keep pointing to those guys, but there are 4 or 5 guys in that room that work on the plan every day and work on what's happening. So you already have an install. You already have a plan. You already kind of know the direction you're going to. All we're talking about is, you know, because when you're putting together a game plan, there are five men in the room most of the time. You're laying out the entire plan, and we're talking about what we're going to call on first down, what we're going to call on second down. The calling of it is done in those rooms, not necessarily standing on. So sometimes there's a feel or a situation changes that you make a different call, but the work is done during the week, and so I feel good about where we are, putting that work in during the week, and then have a plan, and then obviously we'll discuss at some point in time who needs to be the final say. And it's like I told them about sitting in the room. I said, guys, it's still us in the room. My only thing that changes for me is the fact that if we can't make a decision, somebody has to make one, and I'm just the guy that says, okay, we're doing it this way.
Coach, have you talked to Coach Conklin by any chance in the past 48 hours?
No, I have not.
Coach Kong talked about, when we introduced the new class of signees this year, how East Texas is such a hotbed for Southland Conference, and it's important to win your home field bet on the recruiting board. What do y'all do with recruiting now? Because I'm sure some of these guys that are having offers from you, they're probably getting stuff put in their ears about what's going on here to pull them away. How do y'all?
I've been doing this business a long time. There's changes that happen every day. There's assistant coaches that go somewhere. All those things change. Again, I can't say enough. It goes back to the men that are in the room dealing with those kids. Those are guys that are on the road. Those are guys that are developing a relationship. When you walk into the recruiting process, the head coach gets to love them up and say, hey, welcome aboard. But that guy in that room that I've been in forever, and those guys, he's the one that does all the calling. He's the one that builds the relationship. He's the one that gets them to camp. So if you're still dealing with that same person, that's, if you're going to be at SFA, you're going to be at SFA because of the relationships you built with position coaches.
Coach, what are you looking to do with this team? And how are you looking to put your own impression or own identity on this team from here on out?
Well, I'm lucky enough to put some of it on one side of the ball, but I think, sometimes I told the kids this yesterday, there's 250 Division I institutions that play football. More or less. I don't have the count, but we were talking about it. And you got to understand that you're privileged to have one of those opportunities. If you're the starting wide receiver, you're one of 250 people in the world that have that opportunity. And so many times we get caught up in the other things and we forget we need to let kids have fun. Just have fun. Football's supposed to be fun. And, we put all this pressure, all the cameras standing in front of them. Everybody tweets everything they do and everything. It's still a game. It's still supposed to be fun. And I think if we can instill that and have a good time, it don't have to be 4th and inches every day. We just got to have fun, play football.
I guess going back to having fun, obviously throughout this time, you're kind of like the glue to kind of hold everything together as you step in as the interim head coach, which is a pretty big responsibility. Are you, throughout that, is it still fun with the process and getting everyone together and still rallying the troops to go and,
You got to understand, kids want to take the ball out and compete every day. That's, we just got to get them to compete harder, and that's what we do at this level. And I'm taking this day by day too. Every time I walk in, somebody says, "Hey, Coach, I ain't thought about that yet," because the main thing is those kids. Got great support staff that takes care of everything. John's done a great job of helping me. I got 1,000 questions. What do we do? How do we do? And that's why we have a great place, is because we have all those great people. We have things that we need. I've worried Finley to death about 10,000 questions in the last 2 days.
Talk just a little bit about this community to be able to kind of come together at this time and rally behind this team. Everybody in this room is currently here, not because they're here because of something that deeper, because this team means something to this city.
Right. Well, I think we have to figure out who these kids are. These kids are trying, they want to be, we've got to do better. We know that as a coaching staff and all those things. And when you're putting something together, you got to figure out what the it is. And that's what the working thing, because the it changes every year. You don't know if the it is the quarterback, it is the chemistry, the it, whatever it is that makes you be successful. And so that's the key. Everybody has the ability and tools and all those things. It's the people that find it and put it together, and it is what gets you to be successful. And I think it's the same with the community. Obviously, winning and all those things, and build it and they would come. There's a bunch of things. These guys work hard. They deserve your support. They deserve all the things that they are one of that 250. They are gifted. They are, and we know we need those people out there to support those kids, because it's still kids. We're still trying to teach them.
Coach, if you had one quick sentence or phrase to describe the last 48 hours for you, between the announcement and just all the changes going on with you, what would that be?
Whew, that's about it. I mean, I got hit just like you guys did, and I'm going, we're doing what, huh? Hold on. All right, we'll figure it out.
Coach, you had some new coaches in the spring. How critical is that now that they were here early enough that they got to go through the spring and the summer to help the continuity?
Very, very, very critical. Having them here, going through the spring, building those relationships, and that's what we're going to work. We work on every day. I told them when we first met about this, it doesn't have anything to do with blocking and tackling. It has everything to do with the relationship. Wrap your arms around these kids and make sure you're what you say you are.